It all started Thursday night.
It all started.
Always feels like it was so long ago, but not for Giants fans. Riding that high since Thursday night because the Giants defeated the Eagles 34-17. And it wasn't just riding a high. It was like the start of something new for the Giants. Their second win of the season, their second win in 3 weeks with Jaxson Dart as the starter. Cam Skattebo with 3 touchdowns. You had Dart, and Skattebo's ripping his shirt off. They're posing for pictures. A lot has happened in Giants land over these last few weeks. Break it all down.
Well, Jaxson Dart coming in, there's been the excitement just for not having Russell Wilson, right? And we got a couple of snaps of Russell Wilson in this game, and immediately he's just getting booed by the Giants fans. Was it only one snap? Anyway.
One pass.
Right.
Maybe 2 snaps.
Yeah. So Russell Wilson comes in, no hoping situation, 3rd down, I think. Miscommunication between him and Jalen Hyatt. Ball in the dirt, and immediately the entire stadium's just like, boo! This is why we wanted you on the bench in the first place. So just getting him out of the lineup has been a cause for excitement for Giants fans. But that doesn't mean that Jaxson Dart has actually been playing well up until this point. However, in this game, Dart was absolutely balling. Some of his best passes fell incomplete. I mean, there was 2 more touchdowns where he had the ball in the hands of receivers in the end zone with perfect ball location. The first one, he just couldn't come up with it. The second one was pass interference, so that set them up for a Skattebo touchdown. But, man, Jaxson Dart looked really good in this game for, I think, the first time so far in the NFL against the Eagles. And whatever about, look, they were missing a couple of players on defense, and they were important players. Jalen Carter, a defensive tackle. Quinyon Mitchell left the game pretty early, so they were down a couple of important players. I mean, he looked like that without his own important players. No Malik Neighbors, no Darius Slayton. Like he's getting it done with little Jordan Humphrey as one of his alpha receivers in this thing. So phenomenal game from Jaxson Dart. Skattebo is Skattebo every week. The dude is just fun to watch. And the Giants got it done.
We just tell it like it is here, Sam. We told it like it was 2 weeks ago when they beat the Chargers, and I know there was excitement, and I know Brian Daboll has been looking longingly into Jaxson Dart's eyes for weeks now.
Amazing.
Right? But this was the first game I think they put it all together. Week 1, I thought it was uneven passing game, but Jaxson Dart's legs were a huge factor in some turnovers. Against the Saints, I thought he threw the ball better, but there were some turnovers from the Giants in that game, including Dart just dropping the ball, turning it over with a fumble. This was the first game I thought they put it all together. Designed running game, scrambles. The first touchdown, 15-yarder, he jukes Zach Bond. And I suggested, much like Patrick Mahomes has this like little voodoo magic when he scrambles, when he's always either outrunning defenders or makes good athletes look bad in space. Like Jaxson Dart had that on that run and some other runs that we've seen. And then he adds the passing component, as you said, throwing to Lil Jordan Humphrey, throwing to Wan'Dale Robinson. It is such a story of the season when teams are depleted. Offensive linemen down, wide receivers down, and how do you react? And we often use the excuse, well, they didn't have these guys, they didn't have those guys. But when they overcome it, much like Baker Mayfield's doing in Tampa Bay, it means a lot. And I think, the Giants being able to overcome some of their injuries. Yeah, the Eagles had their own injuries. Every team has it. But this offense looks good, right? Like very early in the season, we said, it kind of looks like last year's offense where Daniel Jones was throwing, 5.8 yards per attempt, and there's no explosiveness. At least since Dart's taken over, there's some big play ability in there. And then just the Skattebo factor, 3 touchdowns as an absolute battering ram, which we knew coming in to the season. We knew that would be a thing.
Yeah, I mean, Skattebo is the same player that he's always been, and that is really good. Like, he was a classic example, I think, of people focusing on the limitations during draft time as opposed to what he's really good at. And what he's really good at plays at the NFL level. It plays at every level. Maybe it's more impactful in high school and then lower level college and whatever. Like, it plays less the higher you get, but it still plays in the NFL. He's really difficult to tackle. There was a play where he ran right into Jordan Davis, at nose tackle for the Eagles. Okay, he's got some blocking help, a guy engaged with Jordan Davis at the time. But Jordan Davis is like 350 pounds of nose tackle who is specifically there to stop this happening. And Skattebo drives into him and drives him 3 yards backwards in the contact. Like, very few players can do that at the NFL level, even powerful running backs. He looks fantastic. Yeah, the Jaxson Dart thing, he was significantly better, I think, than the box score. He ends up with fewer than 200 total passing yards. Again,
It's a Bryce Young. We'll call it a Bryce Young. We came out of it very encouraged.
well, it was
by
like
his
last year.
Yeah.
Yeah, late last year, Bryce Young, where for some reason every week the stats never quite matched what he was doing on the field because of people like Xavier Leggett. And this was the case for Jaxson Dart in this game. He was also absolutely money on third down, which is a big factor here. Sure, maybe there was the passing yards weren't spectacular, but so much of it came on third down. The team was 11 of 16 on third downs. Meanwhile, the Eagles were 1 of 9. Like, that was one of the tales of this game, is the Giants converted almost all of their third downs. The Eagles barely converted anything. Just an incredibly impressive performance from Dart. Now, look, just like the first week, playing like Tim Tebow didn't mean he was going to have a career like Tim Tebow. This week, playing like, whoever, some spectacular, fantastic quarterback, doesn't mean that's going to be the case from now on, right? He didn't go on a 3-week arc of Josh Allen's career, and now he's arrived. Maybe next week will be bad again. Maybe next week will be great. Who knows? But this week against the Eagles, he was great.
Hey guys, real quick, only 40% of our viewers are actually subscribed, so let's change that. Hit that subscribe button, and now let's get back to the action. There is something to this belief element, and I won't even mention the guy's name again, but there's other quarterbacks who have elicited belief in their teammates and seemingly elevated those around them, Sam.
Yeah.
And there is something to that. So even when you're not playing at your best, when the head coach, joking about Daboll, looking longingly into Jaxson Dart's eyes and hugging him, and the articles written about like, oh, he's about to take a shower and Daboll's, hugging his neck. But there is something to that factor. Plus, Daboll's like, man, could have been fired this year. Now this guy's given some hope.
I don't know that I can remember a head coach looking like so desperately besotted with a quarterback before. Like, Daboll is
really quick, but like to the point where if I said, hey, Jaxson Dart's going to be in concussion protocol, Daboll's going to dive into the blue tent to make sure that he's okay.
He's so desperate to have Jaxson Dart out there that he launches himself into the blue medical tent, which the owner has to come out and say afterwards, like, obviously that's not cool. Like, we're going to cooperate fully with the NFL investigation and make sure that never happens. This has to be independent, blah, blah, blah. Like, one of the least cool things that a head coach can do. And he's like, I am going in there to make sure this kid is okay.
Jackson, no more Russell Wilson snaps. Jackson, get out here. Get out here.
Like, if you look at Daboll's career, like if you look at his resume, like if Daboll didn't have Josh Allen on his resume, and not specifically the development of Josh Allen, right?
Right.
The time period where Josh Allen went from like all over the place, chaos, madness, albeit with a big arm and incredible physical tools, to MVP level Josh Allen. That happened on Daboll's watch. Now, was that Daboll? Was it whoever? Like, the credit is a little bit amorphous, and nobody knows quite who was responsible for that. But Daboll can at least assume some credit at this point. If you take that away, or if you simply, what's the rest of his resume look like outside of that? There's not that much there. For a guy who's already had, multiple quarterbacks now kind of crap out under his watch, he does need Jaxson Dart.
We do a lot of that A/B analysis in football because what else are you going to compare against? And
right.
you have the one good year of Daniel Jones in 2022, but Daniel Jones is an MVP candidate now that he's left.
And even Daniel Jones, so MVP candidate now, and has since sort of said, I didn't know what great quarterbacking looked like until I got to Minnesota and saw that quarterback room operate. Like, he specifically threw shade at the New York Giants quarterback room, albeit indirectly, by saying, man, that Minnesota room really knows how to get things done, right? And he'd just come from Brian Daboll's system before that.
We've got to talk a little bit about the Eagles. They fall to 4-2 here, and 34-17. They were up 17-13, but their offense did the disappearing act. Again, we don't know which half it's going to happen. Sometimes it's the first half. Sometimes it's the second half. In this game, it was the second half. I like to believe that because they ran 4 straight tush pushes to go up 17-13, the offense fell apart after that. I did theorize in our instant reaction.
That's karma?
I'm not saying that directly.
No.
I am saying indirectly. Is there something about that slow pace and methodical style that they get into tush push mode? Does that have an effect on the rest of the offense? Because this has happened multiple times in the Jalen Hurts era. We talked about his inability or unwillingness maybe, or the offense's inability to throw the ball over the middle of the field and just throw outside the numbers deep or short. The passing map looked very similar for Jalen Hurts once again, and there's just too many times things are a tick late. Everything's late in this passing game, waiting for downfield routes to develop and inviting pressure and getting sacked 3 times, and just does not look good. The offense disappeared once again after scoring 17 points. They didn't score again for the majority of the game.
Yeah, it did. I don't think that the tush push thing has anything to do with it, to be honest. I think it felt like at that point they were trolling the NFL. Like, we're going to run it 4 straight times. I dare you to ban this play.
I think that's just what the situation called for, right? It was
yeah,
it was 3rd and 1, and then they got one. They missed it. Then they got the second one. Then they were 2 yards away, so they just put. I don't think they're trolling anybody.
And
I
if you
ban
picking
the best play,
and if you ban the play, I think they'll do the same thing, just with 4 quarterback sneaks. But the point is, their offense has been doing this all season long. It's just that this time they got punished for it. Like every single game, almost, I think this season, they're off. Whether it's the first half or the second half, it's had a giant period of time where it just hasn't been functioning. And actually, like the start of this game, I mean, the first drive was multiple back-to-back Saquon Barkley plays, like a 19-yard run. I think was the opening play of the game, which was already his longest of the season. Backed it up. The second play was a first down run as well. 4 straight runs to open the game. Like, Philadelphia's moving. They pull Saquon Barkley off the field. I don't know if they're just randomly spelling him more now. It's a weird way that they're utilizing him, or whether he needed a breather after 2 straight runs or whatever. But anyway, like, you had that. You had a couple of big plays to Dallas Goedert early. He had like 6 catches in the first 20 minutes of the game or something. Things are working. A.J. Brown has a nice pass down the field. And this is the same thing. Like, when things are working, it's like, let's just lean on the athletes that we've got, right? We've got like 4 guys that are really, really high-end playmakers. If we just put the ball in their hands, good things will happen. And the problem is the offense, I don't think, really extends beyond that much. So it's like we have a play drawn up for these guys, and when things function, we'll just sort of throw the ball in their direction or hand the ball off to Saquon. They'll make something happen. But there's not much scheme helping them out. It's just, I mean, the A.J. Brown thing is just a one-on-one ISO route on the outside, and he wasn't open. We just threw the ball in his direction. He must have, dude, right? Like, that's what we do. But if you actually clamp down on the plays they're running, there's no nuance to it. There's no progression. There's no, let's find the third guy, and he's open.
That was what the end of the Aaron Rodgers, Mike McCarthy era with the Packers felt like, where there was no easy buttons, there was no schemed up anything. It was just, hey, Jordy Nelson or whoever the guy was at the time, go win outside one-on-one. Aaron will get you the ball. And it's fine to a point, but I think that's why you get that disappearing act for a while. And this is now 4 coordinators in 4 years for the Eagles, right? Shane Steichen, Brian Johnson, Kellen Moore, Kevin Patullo, and they've had this before. So is it a Jalen Hurts thing? The Jalen Hurts discourse is hilarious, right? It's like before the season, well, they just won the Super Bowl. He's the best quarterback in the NFL.
Right.
Now it's like, this dude's always been garbage. He's a second rounder that's been dragged by the best roster in the NFL. As always, the truth is somewhere in the middle. He's not the best quarterback in the NFL. He's not a trash quarterback who should be benched. I think he's a unique quarterback stylistically with his running ability, with the way he throws the ball down the field, and maybe the inability or unwillingness to throw the ball over the middle. We've seen that from various quarterbacks through the years, so I think the Eagles they got to find something. But it's, 4 straight weeks their offense has been very, very streaky, and they had 3 straight punts and then a pick 6 in this one, which was a bad read by Hurts.
They now have a negative point differential for the season, despite sitting at 4-2 and top of that division.
And it's a big story because we have to cite 2023. I know I say this a lot, but you have to understand the history here because it's important. They were 10-1 in 2023 and the best team in the NFL. Beat all of the best teams in the NFL before they collapsed and were the worst-looking playoff team we've ever seen. This is important because that was only 2 years ago. And we had to mention it last year because it was recent history. And last year, it didn't matter, right? They didn't lose after their 4th week or whatever it was. Or they lost 1 game down the stretch. And they were outstanding, and they had a million different ways to win. Pass game, run game, defense, pass rush coverage. They had it all last year. And this year, you're starting to see some inconsistencies, absolutely with the pass game, but with the run game, the defensive injuries, I think, caught up a little bit. They haven't been as dominant as they were early. or as they were last year. So a lot more questions, I think, for the Eagles this year versus last year.
Yeah, you have to be aware that that's within the range of outcomes for the Eagles because it's already happened for them, right? Albeit, every team is a different, or every year is a different team. It's not the same thing. But, yeah, the Eagles in recent memory with the same head coach and the same quarterback have completely collapsed from a position where it looked like they were, the best team in the NFL or one of the best teams in the NFL and in a great spot. And even that year, you were like, well, they're going to make the playoffs anyway. Even if they collapse the regular season, maybe the playoffs, they'll sort of snap out of it and become, no, they exactly the same thing. They just continued in the playoffs on the same implosion. So it's a big week for them to show they can bounce back from this because this is, Saquon was talking last week about how it was their first real adversity in that, they lost the game. Well, now I would say this is real adversity. You not only have you lost multiple games now, but this looks bad for the first time.
We spent a lot of time in this Thursday night game because I think there's a lot of storylines. By the way, these teams play again in 2 weeks in Philadelphia. So 4-2 Eagles, 2-4 Giants. Let's go to Sunday morning.
Thanks for watching all the way to the end of the video.
Check the Mic is live every Monday, Wednesday, and Thursday, so be sure to hit the subscribe button so you don't miss a thing.
And the all-knowing algorithm is convinced you'll also like these videos, and who are we to argue?